Last week, we had the largest weekly stock market drop since 1929. Today, the Dow Jones dropped 2,000 points. In fact, this morning, trading got halted. It was that bad. We have the biggest single-day oil price drop since the Gulf War in 1991. In fact, oil prices are down 25%. After today's massive drop, will we see a rally this week? What can we expect this week? Let's get started. So this is here, what you see right here, the Dow Jones. As you see, as we are going into the close, we just closed a few minutes ago, we are down 2,000 points. So now, if we just take a look at from the peak where we started a few weeks ago to where we are right now, I believe that we are down a total of 20%. Yes, there we go. See, the markets are down 20% over the past, I want to say, 2 weeks. So what's next, right? I mean, this is what the question is. This morning, you see there was a circuit breaker tripped. If a circuit breaker is tripped, whenever the S&P is down 7% in a day, this is when the markets are halted. So no trading can take place for the next 15 minutes. They will be halted for 15 minutes. If the S&P keeps further dropping to 13%, it's another 15%, and that's all in a single day. And if the S&P drops 20%, trading is suspended for the rest of the day. So why is that? Why do we have circuit breaker like this? Well, it's just that everybody takes a deep breath and calms down. And it seems that this is what we needed this morning. See, this morning right here. This is where we opened. So the markets were already down 6% this morning and then quickly dropped. And you see right here, this is when trading was halted. So for 15 minutes, you could place orders, but they wouldn't be executed. After this, as you can see, we saw a brief rally. That's exactly what circuit breakers are supposed to do, right? To stop the market from falling when everybody is panicking, and especially, you know that we have a lot of computerized trading, right? So you want to avoid that computers are triggering computers and are starting this downward spiral. Now, for most of the day, we have been piddling along, but then also selling off into the close, down 2,000 points in the Dow, or as you can see here, 7.8%. So what is causing this? And then we will also talk, what can you do right now? What should you be doing with a crazy market like this? Well, so right now, fears about the coronavirus are still center stage. More and more cases are reported, and more companies are telling their employees to stay home. More and more counties are declaring a state of emergency. We have festivals canceled. Here in Austin, we have South by Southwest. A festival that was supposed to start this weekend, I believe, got canceled. So 400,000 people will not come to Austin here. And this is where, of course, you start feeling the effects of this. So you see, people are not traveling anymore. This is what's sending airlines down. So the Dow from the top is down 20%. But let's see how bad airlines are being hit. So as an example, we are looking at SAFE, that is Spirit. So Spirit Airlines here, you see a few weeks ago trading at 45, today trading at 21. So they lost 50%. Then we have American Airlines, right? So American Airlines here, another company, going from, $30 to $15, also losing 50%. So here you have the travel industry hurting. I mean, you know, cruises right now, the CDC says do not go on the cruise. So Carnival, the big cruise ship company, look at this. They went from 52 to 21. What is this? Probably a 60% decline. And when you have individual companies hurt like this is when obviously it drags the whole index down. Now, we're coming to a perfect storm here. So this is what's happening. We do have a perfect storm. So we have the coronavirus, which is already weakening demand for example, travel, right? Right now, no weakening demand for toilet paper. We'll talk about this in a moment. Oh, dear Lord. I mean, really, people think that toilet paper will save us. Anyhow, so we'll talk about this. But so we have this. We have weakening demand. We have some companies just tumbling like crazy. And since these companies are part of the index, this is what's dragging the index down. Now, in addition, last week, as you know, the Fed announced an emergency interest rate cut. So this means interest rates are dropping. Last week, we had an emergency cut of 0.5%. What does this mean? When you have an interest cut, banks are not making as much money as there used to be. So let's take a look at some banks here. Let's take a look at Bank of America. So Bank of America, if you see here, from the high of 35 now down to 22. They lost 40%. Look at this. Bank of America lost 40% over the past few weeks. JP Morgan down 33%. Not as bad as Bank of America, but you see, this is where we have the second industry tumbling here. So after the travel industry, now we have the banking and the financial sector tumbling. So this, of course, then creates a downward spiral, right? And here is what happened in addition to this. We had crude oil tumbling today. So again, I'm talking about the perfect storm, or like you used to say, or like they say in the financial markets, the black swan. So crude oil today was down overnight as much as 30%. But here you can see crude oil to Dow 25%. So what happened is that Russia and Saudi Arabia got into a pissing fight over crude oil, because last week was the OPEC meeting, and pretty much all OPEC members said, you know what, let's actually reduce the output so that oil prices are getting higher, so that we have less oil. But Russia said, no, we don't do this because, I don't know, they want to export as much oil as possible. Anyhow, so this is why over the weekend, Saudi Arabia said that they are cutting down the oil prices. Anyhow, so they are getting into a war. And what does this mean? This is where it is a race to the bottom. So now you have oil prices plummeting. We'll see how this war ends. Basically, Russia and Saudi Arabia are racing to the bottom. Now, Russia can produce oil cheaper than Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has lots of expenses connected with producing oil. Russia does not. So I believe from what I've read is that Russia is okay if oil prices are at $30 or $35 a barrel. That's their break even. While for Saudi Arabia, it's closer to 40 to 45. So anyhow, while these guys are playing around, let me come back to you on the charts. Here's what's happening now. We have more companies that are severely hurt. So we, for example, have oil companies like Chevron. So Chevron today with the lower oil price hurt, and today alone down 15%. As you can see, over the past few weeks, the oil price has hurt Chevron dramatically. So overall, they're down 35%, as you can see here. Marathon Oil Corporation, as you can see, dropped 40% just today. Occidental Petroleum dropped 53% today. So this is where you see it all starts accelerating. First, we have the coronavirus, which is causing people to just buy like crazy. So Walmart today doing surprisingly well. Why? Because Walmart right now is packed. Just slightly down. It was up earlier, now down 0.06%. Target probably right now still up. No, Target is down 4%, but you look at this. Post-market in after-hours trading up 2.6%. Anyhow, so most industries are being hurt. Some companies are doing well, but this is what we are seeing right now. And what starts in addition to this, when we have, let's go back to the Dow Jones. When you have a market tumbling, this is when people panic. And people are already panicking right now because of the coronavirus. So this is just adding to this. So first question, have we seen a bottom? Well, you have heard me saying 2 weeks ago, I said we will see a crash. This was right here when we were all the way up here. I released a video warning you that we will have a crash. Last week, when we bounced back, on this day, when we bounced back, I told you the worst is yet to come. I believe we will plunge a little bit lower. I don't think it will be much, but we can definitely expect another 5%, 7% over the next few days. Now, here's the deal. Where does the market go from here? And what do you do? So right now in the White House, President Trump is meeting with industry execs, and he's meeting with healthcare industry. So, I mean, trust me, it's not only the governments around the world, but all the central banks around the world. They are right now looking at this and they say, how can we stop this? So I believe that sometime this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe on Wednesday, we will see a bounce, because we will maybe see another emergency rate cut. Maybe banks are announcing quantitative easing, pumping money into the system. You know, this is what we have done in 2008.